Hello everybody, this is Gregory with 5-Minute Catholic Apologetics and Living, where 5 minutes of your time may get you to the divine. Today we're going to do 3 rapid-fire questions and answers about the Catholic faith. Now before we begin, let's start with a prayer. Nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritui Sancti. Amen. Gloria Patri et Filii et Spiritui Sancto. Secutor in principio et nunc et semper et saecula saeculorum. Amen. On occasion, I like to do these. I think we probably have 3 or 4 of these rapid Q&As, and they're not always about apologetics. They can just be about Catholic living. So let's get to it. What's the difference between the Incarnation and the Annunciation? Well, on one level, we would think that these are almost identical, but they're not. The Annunciation is when the angel Gabriel came to Mary, and we know this is the first of the joyful mysteries, and the Incarnation is when the Word became flesh. But the Annunciation came before the Incarnation slightly. So it wasn't until Mary's fiat, the handmaiden of the Lord, be it done to me according to thy word, that the Incarnation happened. So it was her consent. So the Annunciation is when the angel Gabriel came, and immediately after her consent, because remember she had free will, after her consent, then that's the Incarnation. Heretics. What's the difference between a material and a formal heretic? Well, probably the large majority of us were at one point, or maybe still are, material heretics. So a material heretic is somebody who either doesn't agree with or doesn't understand, or mostly doesn't agree with or is openly defiant to Church's teaching without knowing it. So they have a certain level of invincible ignorance. And I've admitted here before that when I was in my college years, I believed that abortion was okay in certain circumstances. Now, does that make me a material heretic? Yeah, you could say that I theoretically was a formal heretic. A formal heretic knows the Church's teaching and doesn't really care and will believe what they want. But I like to think, given that I was 19 and stupid and wasn't well catechized and well dogmatized, that I lacked ignorance. I lacked full knowledge and I had ignorance. So I was a material heretic. So you think of a lot of Catholics, like we've talked about the many studies out there that show that, what was the most recent one we did? Only 1% of Catholics believe in the Church's teaching on euthanasia and abortion. And we know that the Church's teaching on contraception and so many things are not widely and uniformly agreed upon by the large majority of Catholics. Now, how many of those well-meaning Catholics who believe in abortion or believe in contraception or believe in that everybody's going to heaven, that hell is empty, whatever these things are, how many of them truly know it, and how many of them just have not been well educated on it or just lack an interest to be well educated on it? That's really the differentiation between a material heretic and a formal heretic. A formal heretic, and you typically reserve this for somebody who knows the faith very well, somebody in the clergy like Martin Luther or John Calvin or somebody like that who knows the faith, is like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. That's a formal heretic. A material heretic, they have some form of ignorance. And the last thing, extraordinary minister, ordinary minister of communion. Ordinary minister, in short, is going to be somebody who's ordained. Deacon, priest, bishop. Those are the ordinary ministers. So theoretically, they should be the only ones administering the Eucharist. We've known the last 30, 40 years, this has changed, and now we have extraordinary ministers. So extraordinary ministers are it's going to be essentially anybody that is not ordained who is doing it. And we've talked about before, like how many times you go to a typical suburban mass and there's like 15 people who are extraordinary ministers. Well-meaning people, they want to serve in their own way, but that's the difference between extraordinary and ordinary. Guys, post in the comments. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.